Shirley Clements Mewborn Field is the proud home of Georgia Tech softball. Under head coach Eileen Morales, the Yellow Jackets are always a top-tier team in the ACC due to their high-level recruiting. One of those standout recruits is Chandler Dennis, the superstar pitcher from Sewanee, Georgia. You may have heard her name through headlines or articles for her lights-out performances in the circle. But the real story behind Chandler is the adversity and hardship she's had to overcome that most don't even know about.
My sister played softball. I have an older sister, and I think that when I saw her starting to play, of course, I wanted to be just like her. So I was like, she's a pitcher, and so I saw her pitching with my dad, and I was like, I have to do that. I want to do it. I want to be just like her, and so I did, and I guess I never looked back.
Growing up in a house full of softball, there was no doubt that Chandler was bound for success going into her high school years.
My name is Paul Cromie. I am the head coach at Lanier High School, fast pitch softball program. I had the pleasure of coaching Chandler Dennis, her freshman, sophomore, and junior years at North Gwinnett High School, 2015 through 2017. Chandler is one of those rare athletes that when you see her for the first time on the field, it's just like, oh my God, we have something special here.
She had a really good core of friends and teammates. That was just like a year where they were like sisters, and they played for each other, and that means a lot.
I would consider her to be the backbone of our team. In high school, we relied on her so much. She was such an important person, as a motivator and also as a player. She was amazing and still is.
It's kind of crazy to look back on it because that was a long time ago now, But when I was in it, I was just trying to enjoy it, and I think I had the most fun ever playing softball. That sophomore year when we won the state championship. Having that community on the team, that chemistry, I feel like that helped lead into all of feeling comfortable and the accolades that followed. So.
Chandler finished off her stellar sophomore season by capping off North Gwinnett's run with a state championship. Unfortunately, there was a turn that no one saw coming.
It was going into my junior year of high school. It was that summer. And it wasn't like I started noticing, a little bit here and there. It was drastic.
We got in the car one day, she and I, and it was, she just said, "Mom, my ear feels funny. It feels like there's a bubble in it, and I really can't hear very well." And I was like, that's kind of weird. And I was just thinking maybe it's allergies or something because she's battled those all her life.
I went to bed one night and I literally woke up and it just sounded like I had noise canceling headphones on or a head cold, really stuffy. And I was like, oh, it'll come back, I'm not too worried about it. But it didn't. And so, that was a huge adjustment going into my junior year of high school. I didn't know what to do,
We kind of let it go for a couple of days just thinking, it'll settle itself out. And it didn't. So we went to the pediatrician and they said, well, maybe it is allergies. Here's some allergy medicine. Take it for a couple of weeks, come back. So we did. And then they said, well, you know what? We'll do a hearing test.
So I'm sitting in the booth, with the headphones on. I'm supposed to click a button every time I hear a beep, right? 5 minutes passed. I'm like, have we started the test yet? And they're like, it's over. And then that's when I was like, oh, that's not good, That's when I realized something was really seriously wrong.
We were sitting there waiting and the audiologist started talking to us, and all I could hear was her showing this slope of she can hear okay for these lower pitch sounds, but once it gets to any kind of higher pitch or anything, it's sloping to moderate to severe to profound hearing loss. And you hear the words severe and profound, and it's kind of wait a minute, she was just fine. As she was telling us, I kind of could feel my eyes, starting to well up with tears, and I was like, I cannot cry with her sitting here because she's learning this too.
One of the really difficult things about this is that I have no clue. I just woke up one morning and I couldn't hear, which is kind of bizarre. And I've gotten CT scans, MRIs, blood work, all of that stuff, and everything came back normal, and that's one of the really scary things about this is that every time I have periodic checkups and stuff, and it has gotten worse since the initial hearing loss, and that's something that's really scary is that I don't know if I'm gonna be completely deaf one day, if it's gonna completely just be gone, you know, and it could happen like that, which is just kind of crazy.
We were listening to like, okay, so you've got to go get fitted for hearing aids and like see it in detail. And I'm thinking, here's my 15-year-old now going to wear hearing aids. And at that point, you know, parents, we look at the future and it's kind of like, here's her future.
I think that in high school, like I literally just kept it to myself. Like, yes, like my teammates knew, but like it was always like, I guess like, oh, like Chandler has hearing loss. Like, you know, like I think people don't really wrap their head around it because I can still hold a conversation with people, but like I am deaf, you know, like it's really difficult for me to hear. And like, I feel like that's kind of like where the disconnect comes sometimes with people. Like they don't really understand like when I have to say like, do you mind repeating yourself again, or like speak up a little bit? Like, cause they're like, oh, Chandler, like I just had a conversation with you earlier. Like, what do you mean? You know?
Chandler she's not going to disclose that just openly. And we probably went through half a season, if not 3/4 of a season, before I was even made aware of it. So I was blown away because I was sitting having conversations like this, talking to her on the field, so on and so forth. And I never knew. I mean, there was never any indication.
I knew that like it wouldn't hold her back, but I wanted her to know like if she needed someone to talk to, like I was always going to be there for her. I wanted her to just make sure that she knew she had people to go to if like she felt like she was alone, because it's not like a lot of people can relate to her. So I wanted to be someone that at least she could talk to, just to make her feel better and like know that she's always supported.
I think that in some ways I'm still definitely processing it, you know. It's really difficult to kind of like wrap your head around, you know. I feel like I would be able to process it better if I knew why it happened. I've struggled a lot with my confidence because of it. It's not something that I open with when I meet people, which takes a toll on me. I think it takes a toll on my parents, definitely, and my sister, because they see me struggling, and obviously like they care about me, so that's really hard on them, you know.
We went to the doctor's office thinking that it was her hearing aids that were outdated or old, and they just had a new technology and maybe better. And the guy said that if you can't hear from the get-go, you can't really enhance the hearing. So he said the cochlear implant's probably the route to go. And he recommended, the guy selling the hearing aids recommended that.
With her hearing deficiency becoming progressively worse, it was evident that now was the time for change. Chandler received cochlear implants, a device implanted beneath the skin to help improve the reception of audio signals to the brain.
It worked out over Christmas break. We had a window to where we could do it, and she'd have recovery time and downtime before the season started to get it all going.
She's kind of starting to like get out a little more and like do things. And I remember around Christmas we went out to eat as a family, and she's like, wow, that was kind of fun. Like I actually was able to like talk to you guys.
I think Coach Marty kind of put it well. He's like, we're not doing this for softball. Like we're doing this for her life, you know, and that's the most important thing, and made me feel better because it's true. Like she hadn't had the quality of life really for the last little bit that a college kid needs.
Feeling more confident than ever before, Chandler continues to excel on and off the field, all while being an inspiration and leader to everyone around her.
Everyone was just always like so supportive off the bat, and like they made me feel wanted, you know, again, which I hadn't felt in a long time, which was awesome. Of course, every athlete wants to feel wanted, but it's not just, they made me feel that way when I was being recruited by them that summer. It continued into the fall, you know, and they really, like, I could tell that they really care about us and that they really just want to invest in us and make us better people.
I think one of the coolest things about Chandler is not only is she a phenomenal softball player, but she's a phenomenal person. And she doesn't define herself by what she does on the softball field. And I think that just takes a huge level of maturity and is something that, you know, the rest of her teammates look up to and see in her, and that kind of breeds around the rest of the program.
She's just like a natural leader. Like, people want to follow her. She motivates all of us to be as good as we can every single day, like get that 1% better every day, and she's pretty much everybody's backbone. You can always go to Chandler if you need somebody, so she's definitely influenced the whole team.
Chandler's work and dedication as an athlete alone has inspired so many, but perseverance through an unfathomable adversity gives her even more determination to inspire others to chase their dreams.
My situation where I was, rock bottom, kind of helped me realize that I want to help other people that are going through that. I would love to become a sports psychologist one day and work within an athletic community and an athletic team of some sort.
Her story, is going to be one that I think really will help somebody. That's her goal. I think she's kind of waiting for that opportunity to kind of have a way to help others, and I keep telling her, right now your way to help others is by your example.
Getting to watch her continue to develop into the amazing person that she always was, and see how she influenced me, and now she's influencing all the other girls on the team as well. It's been super big blessing to watch.
I am not surprised one bit by the success that Chandler's experienced. She has always just kind of kept her nose to the grindstone, done what was necessary. Chandler's a perfect example of don't let anything stop you.
I want to be a role model for younger kids who might be going through this. I know I'm not the only athlete out there with a disability. I just want them to know that it is possible to compete at a high level, don't let it hold you back. There are gonna be times where it's difficult, more than anyone can imagine, but it's so worth it. And I think that I want to be that role model for those kids.